All right, hopefully you got your 15 minutes of membeing in. Let's go ahead and take a look at Common Lit. Last week we read My Last Duchess. So this week, make sure you go into My Last Duchess. There are 9 assessment questions. It does give you some guided reading and some locations where answers could be. Make sure you do know the overall story though, because it doesn't give you the exact answers. When you are done with the assessment questions, next you're going to go to classwork on Google Classroom. You're going to click on the Google Doc for the My Last Duchess discussion questions. Number 1, what does the narrator mean when he says that he chooses never to stoop in line 43? Do you think he is being honest? What might this statement suggest about him, particularly in the context of the rest of the poem? Number 2, to what extent, if any, do you think jealousy is normal in a relationship? How can one tell when a relationship has become unhealthy? Number 3, psychologist Philip Zimbardo has said that line between good and evil is permeable. Any of us can move across it. We all have the capacity for love and evil. Does My Last Duchess support this idea? As Browning has portrayed him, does the Duke have the capacity for both love and evil? Here you're going to give an example of each of these topics from the poem: power, language and communication, art and culture, madness, and jealousy. Then you're going to answer the questions about power, questions about language and communication, questions about art and culture, questions about madness, and the questions about jealousy. We are not going to do the breakout rooms. So you're going to have to, how does this quote relate to the topic of power? How does this quote relate to the topic of language and communication? How does this topic relate to, how does this quote relate to art and culture? How does this quote relate to the topic of madness? How does this quote relate to the topic of jealousy? All right, so that's what you're doing for the discussion questions. If you look back on here, you're also going to go down and you'll see a little biography about Robert Browning. Robert Browning's early life. On May 7th, 1812, Robert Browning was born in Camberwell, London, England. His parents were Robert, a senior bank clerk, and Sarah Anna Browning, an amateur pianist. Young Robert was exposed to a variety of books in different languages, because of his father's collection. At the age of 5, he was proficient in reading and writing. His well-read parents taught him at home. By 14, he learned Greek, French, and Latin. Browning was homeschooled by various tutors in music, horsemanship, drawing, as well as dancing for 2 years. Browning showed early interest in poetry. When he was 12, the works of Percy Bysshe Shelley inspired him. In 1828, his parents decided to enroll him at the University of London, but he dropped out after half a year. Browning married Elizabeth Barrett, a poet, in 1846. The couple moved to Florence, Italy, and had a son 3 years later. In 1861, Elizabeth died and Robert and their son moved back to London. Robert Browning's literary career. In 1833, Browning anonymously published his first work, Pauline. His family financially supported his writing and publishing. 2 years later, Paracelsus was published featuring a Renaissance alchemist. It was a modestly received and criticized, but gained him acquaintances, including William Wordsworth and Thomas Carlyle. In 1837, Browning tried writing the dramatic plays, including Stratford and the Bells and Pomegranates. Both were unsuccessful. By 1840, Sordello was published and failed to gain readers. After several failures, Browning finally got his inspiration through his wife. In 1855, Men and Women, a collection of poems dedicated to Elizabeth, was published. Today it is regarded as one of his best works. Browning's Dramatis Personae was published, followed by The Ring and the Book in 1869. The latter gained him a respected spot in the sphere of Victorian poets. His poem was widely acclaimed as it narrated a 17th century murder trial of a Roman killing of his wife and her family. Later life, death, and legacy. In 1881, the Browning Society was established. 6 years later, he received an honorary doctorate of civil law from Balliol College at Oxford University. On December 12, 1889, Robert Browning died in Venice, the same day that the final volume of Estolano was published. He was later buried at the Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey, London. His works inspired authors like Ezra Pound and T.S. Eliot. Some of his famous works included Childe Roland, To the Dark Tower Came, My Last Duchess in 1842, Pippa Passes, Dramatic Lyrics, Dramatic Romances and Lyrics, and The Bishop Orders His Tomb. All right, now you're just going to answer some multiple choice questions about Robert Browning's life. Here you're just going to highlight the correct answer and hit submit. So it should give you the option of when you are finished, you will submit that. Also on the stream, there should be, oh, here it is, your My Last Duchess kind of review quiz. Here is the game pen. You could either use that or when you actually click on the Play Kahoot Enter Game, and then it will just start giving you the questions, and then you answer the questions, and then it will send me your results. All right, so by the end of this week, Sunday, September 20th, you should have, let me open that up. You should have My Last Duchess assessment questions on Common Lit finished. You should have My Last Duchess Kahoot review quiz finished. You should have Robert Browning's quiz questions answered, and also the My Last Duchess discussion questions should be finished. And of course, your 45 minutes of membing all are due Sunday, September 20th by 11:59 p.m. And if you look back over the expectations, the membing scoring, make sure that you get a 59% or higher. Otherwise, it will be an automatic 3 points off your training score. If you look over the expectations, the week's assignments are going to be due Sunday evening at 11:59 p.m. After that, work is considered late and points will be deducted. All late work will earn 60% of the assessed grade. For example, if it is 10 points, the assignment will be worth 6 points. So you will have just one day to turn in any late work, and that will be the following Monday. Anything after that will remain a 0 if it's not turned in. Make sure you always identify yourself on Zoom meetings with your first and last name, or else you will not be admitted. Make sure you're dressing respectfully for the Zoom meetings. Turn off your cell phone, find a quiet place, and make sure you limit all distractions around you. Make sure that you attend the Zoom meeting on time. If you miss a Zoom meeting or you know you're going to miss it, please send me an email and let me know the reason why you're going to miss the Zoom meeting. It will be your responsibility to watch the meeting and make up any missed work. You can also reach out to me during office hours or send me an email if you have any questions about the assignments. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let you get started. So all the My Last Duchess assignments will be due on Sunday, by Sunday evening. All right, send me an email if you have any questions, and have a great night.